All right, I'm going to show you how to make my version of pizza dough. I've seen a lot of different recipes online, and I've tried a lot of them, and this is the one I've kind of come up with that I think is closest to, an actual pizza. So it's going to be in parts because it does kind of require some steps. So the first is I'm going to do the yeast to show that, and then we'll come back and I'll show you when we put the yeast in with the flour. Use 00 Caputo flour that I get off of Amazon. It's on like recurring, but you can also get, according to sources, you can get some 00 flour at Publix. It's not Caputo, but it's something else. Anyway, so let's start with the yeast portion of it. So I use Fleischmann's active dry yeast. I keep this in the refrigerator. This is the powder. So I don't usually measure a lot, but for this, it's going to be 1, 2 1/4 teaspoons of that yeast. And in order for the yeast to activate, it needs some kind of sugar. I always use honey. You can use sugar. It's about a teaspoon of sugar or honey. Put that in there. And then the water. So for 4 cups of flour, it's going to be 1.5 cups of warm water. And I measure the water temperature between 100 and 110. I like to get it around 105. So that's about 1 to 3. It's a 1.5 cups. I just pour that in. Kind of get it all mixed in there. I don't try to mix it too hard, like crazy. I just give it a little swirl. Just a little swirl. Make sure that the honey is kind of dissolved. Again, you can use sugar. Now that mixture, I let it sit for 15 minutes. So we'll come back in 15 minutes and show you what it's supposed to look like once it activates. Okay, so this is what it looks like 15 minutes after it's sitting. If it doesn't look like that, then dump it out and start over. That's the foaminess that you're looking for. So we're going to add that to the 4 cups of flour, and it's, a little under 4 because you can always add more. If you have too much flour in there at first, it can get too dry. So then to that, I'm going to add salt, about a teaspoon. Not really measuring well, but about a teaspoon, and I add garlic salt. You can just use regular salt. Then I take a fork, excuse me, just kind of mix that up, the salt and the flour, and we're going to put some olive oil in a minute, but not just quite yet. So, take the yeast mixture, dump it into the almost 4 cups of 00 flour. Put your dough hook on it. And I just put it on stir, the slowest speed. And so that's going to mix, and once it starts to come together, about halfway through, probably going to take 4 minutes, 5 minutes maybe, to completely pull away from the bowl. That's what you're looking for. So about halfway through, I'm just going to add about a tablespoon of olive oil. Help it pull away from the bowl. And like I said, this could take up to 5 minutes, so we'll come back in 5 minutes. All right, you can see it's kind of pulling away from the bowl now. It's pretty much done. If you can add a little flour until it completely pulls away. We can turn it off. This is still a little sticky, which is kind of better because you can always, like I said, add more flour. I'm gonna put a little bit of flour on this board. I'm going to pull it out. It's a little bit sticky, but that's fine. I'm gonna add some flour to it. Just let it sit there and rest for a minute. Pull this out. So at this point, really, just gonna add a little flour to it and kind of, be gentle with it. Just kind of take your hand, tuck it, roll, tuck it, roll. Don't squash it too hard because you want to have a little air in there, but you want to be able to push it and see some bounce back. Get the gluten going there. So I just knead it for just a little bit until it's really smooth, fairly smooth. It's got a little bounce back there. You can pick up all the rest of the flour. Make it into a ball. There we go. And then nice little round ball. I'm gonna take some olive oil, put it in the bottom of a bowl. Got I don't know, half a tablespoon. Put a little bit, half a tablespoon on top. Make sure you rub it all around the ball so it doesn't stick to the bowl. Then what you're going to do is cover that into a dark, warm place for at least an hour until it doubles. And then we will move to the next step. All right, so you want to show that. It's been about an hour. Got a little bubble there. So it's been about an hour. You can let it go a little longer if you want. It's about doubled in size. So I'm going to use this actually for bread tonight, but I'm going to show you anyway. So basically, I would divide this into four balls. So I'm gonna do one, and then just to show you what I would do. Alright, so just kind of let it fall out. Like that. Hopefully it doesn't stick. Good. Now, you're kind of punching it down. You don't really punch it down, but you do want to be careful with it because you want to keep as much air in there as you can. So basically, what I would do is I'd go across this way and across this way. Make 4 balls, then I'd put them in this, put some flour in the bottom of this, this is called a proofing box. If you don't have one of these, you don't have to have one, but I recommend it if you're going to do it a lot. I mean, you can always wrap it in plastic wrap and then cover it, or you can actually cook it straight from what I'm going to do here. That's what I did in the beginning. I think you get a better result if you have one of these. You can get these on Amazon, or you can just let it, once you divide them down into balls, you can let them sit another hour or so, and I think you get a better result. Or, like I said, you can just roll it out just like this. So I'll show you what I do. Since I'm gonna do this for bread, I'm just gonna take a piece off the corner. I'll move that to the side. And what I would do, I would basically just kind of wrap it up. Kind of being fairly gentle with it. And then kind of roll it, keeping it on the table. Rolling it up, rolling it up, rolling it up, rolling it up, rolling it up. Now, you can take that and flatten it out and make a pizza just like that. Or what I do is I stick them back in here. This is airtight. Because if air gets to it, it gets dried out and crusty. You don't want that. These are airtight. You just let that sit. You put that in the refrigerator, or I just let it sit out on the counter for another hour or two. It doubles again, so that'll get either double or triple of that. You can make a bigger ball, and then I just punch it down, depending on whether I'm going to do thin crust or thick crust. And I can do another video on that. But that's pretty much it for the pizza dough. And like I said, we'll do it's a little baby pizza. But like I said, it'll double. And if you put it in the refrigerator, it will actually help to when you thaw it out to expand. So, but you have to have it. It has to come to room temperature before you can work with it. But anyway, that's kind of a quick gist of how I do the pizza dough. I'm sure we'll be talking. So, thanks.